What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC Vegas 64. We have Amanda Lemos going against Marina Rodriguez.
I need all the wins, yeah. All that and all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we're back for another DraftKings video this week, breaking down UFC Vegas 64. We do have a 12-fight card. Unfortunately, we did lose the Jailton Almeida Maxime Grishin fight, but still 12 fights. Not the best card in the world, but I think it's going to be a fun card, a pretty tricky card for DraftKings, so can't wait to break it all down for you guys. Before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not already, if you do want extra content, or if you do want to support me further, be sure to sign up on dfsbythenumbers.com. Got the optimizer going, got the targets, projections, rankings, the articles, all that good stuff. Check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. But yeah, I say we get into it, and as always, we're going to start with our fight doesn't go to decision line. So up first, we have Sherman Parisian minus 325. Fight doesn't go to decision, which I personally think is pretty wide here. I could definitely see a scenario where it is a greasy, sloppy, sweaty heavyweight fight that does end up going the distance. But this is a fight where it's going to be terrible to watch, you got to imagine. But man, I mean, they're making us play this fight. Sherman 8,200, Josh Parisian 8,000. They're heavyweights. They're very defensively responsible. They're finishers. Sherman a 94% finish rate. Parisian an 86% finish rate. Sherman's been finished 6 times. Parisian's been finished 3 out of 6 losses. There's a good chance somebody does get finished here. For that reason, I think it's a fight we have to play. Although I'm not really looking forward to it, but I think it's important, especially at these price tags at 8,000, 8,200. I really don't have a strong lean one way or another. I don't think either fighter is amazing, but, you know, Sherman is probably going to have the striking advantage here, and Parisian's probably going to have the advantage if he does get on top and get this fight down to the mat. So flip a coin, go either way. I'm probably going to split my exposure pretty evenly here, but I think that sadly, it's a fight that I think is going to have to be targeted this week. Next, we have Shalion Nurdenbeke going against Derek Minner. Now, this is probably my favorite fight on the card, and this is a fight that I'm going to be very heavily exposed to. 2 finishers here. We got a killer-be-killed fighter in Derek Minner. Derek Minner has an 89% finish rate, 85% of those coming by submission, something like 24, 25 submissions on his record, something crazy like that. And he's been finished 11 times out of 13 losses. Shalion, same thing. Killer-be-killed fighter. The guy has a 76% finish rate, and he's been finished in 8 out of 10 losses, including 6 losses by submission, which I think is very important going against a guy in Derek Minner who has so many submissions and is so dangerous on the mat. I think this fight can play out one of 2 ways. The first way, I could see Shalion mixing in takedowns, a lot of them, a lot of top control, kind of grinding it out. He's not really been a finisher thus far in the UFC, but you know, we have seen Derek Minner fall off a complete cliff and end up just kind of quitting in fights. So we could potentially see that, and in that case, it's going to score very well for Shalion. The other way I see this playing out is Derek Minner getting a submission and probably in the first round. And at 7,300, we have to definitely get some Derek Minner into our lineups. But yeah, this is a phenomenal fight to target. I think somebody probably gets finished here, whether it is Minner early or whether it's Nurdenbeke getting Minner out of there late. So I love this fight to target on DraftKings this week. Next, we have the main event, Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Lemos, 5-round fight. Yeah, I like it. I think I'm going to be targeting this fight pretty heavily. I could see Marina Rodriguez going out there, winning a decision, landing a ton of volume. Her volume numbers are pretty solid, and I think across 5 rounds, she should be able to add up a lot of volume there, landing over 5 significant strikes per minute. Don't really see any takedown upside, but I could see a potential late finish for Marina Rodriguez if Lemos does slow down. On the Lemos side, I actually think if she wins, it's probably early inside the distance. She is very dangerous, tons of finishes, tons of first-round finishes, and I just don't think Lemos can have success in these later rounds, in that 3rd round, in that 4th round, in that 5th round. So I kind of think if Lemos does pull off the upside here, I think it's going to be early. So I like Rodriguez here. Mostly I'm going to have more Rodriguez than anything, but I think Lemos is a very intriguing dog in this main event because she is very dangerous. But I'm more on the Lemos or the Rodriguez side personally. Next, we have Mario Batista going against Benito Lopez. This is kind of a one-sided fight for me, and I think for a lot of people, I'm more so on the Mario Batista side here, and I think this fight could finish. Both guys have never lost by decision. Batista's been finished in both losses. Lopez finished in his only loss, so I could see this ending inside the distance, but I'm more on the Batista side here. Honestly, I could see Batista winning by submission. I could see Batista winning by knockout. I could see Batista winning by decision. I'm just really high on Batista this week in this matchup. I think he has all the grappling upside. Benito Lopez has not even shot a takedown in the UFC. Obviously, Benito Lopez has not been in the cage in over 3 years. Lots of question marks about the Benito Lopez side. So yeah, I'm on Batista here. 9,100 I don't think is a terrible price tag. And I think Benito Lopez gets it done. I think Mario Batista gets it done. How does he get it done? Like I said, I could see either sub, knockout, or decision, whichever way he wants, I think. So I do like the Batista side. I won't be getting too much Lopez. All right, getting into our core plays here. We have Miranda Maverick, 9,400. I can't believe this is a matchup that's actually happening, but it is. It's a matchup we actually saw before back in Invicta, where Maverick went out there and took down Shanna Young and submitted her very shortly after. And they're fighting again here, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but we have Maverick, who's a massive favorite on the card, like minus 700. I'm assuming she's going to get up to like minus 800, which is wild in a women's MMA fight, but I mean, I can't really argue it too much. I think she has Shanna Young covered everywhere, from the striking to, most importantly, the grappling. I think the difference between grappling is going to really show itself here. We saw Shanna Young obviously get finished by Maverick. We saw Shanna Young get finished by Edgar on the mat, and we saw Shanna Young get finished by one Sarah Alpar, which is that's a big no-no. So yeah, Miranda Maverick should get this fight down to the mat eventually, and once she does, I think it's her world. Grounded pound, TKO, submission, I think it's both on the table. But yeah, I do like Maverick quite a bit at 9,400, the most expensive fighter on the slate. Next, we'll go to Tagir Ulanbekov, 8,600. This is for the takedown upside. I don't think he's going to 1-2 strike with Nate Maness at all. Nate Maness is cutting down to 125 pounds for the first time in his career, which is very terrifying if you are on the Nate Maness side. And I think Tagir is going to be able to get takedowns here. And what I will say is Nate Maness does have very good takedowns defense, but once he is taken down, just nothing off his back. No sense of urgency to get up, no get-up game. The takedown defense is great, but once he does eventually get taken down, he has nothing. So I can see a scenario where Tagir Ulanbekov chains these takedowns, eventually gets one, and once he does get that one, I think that's the round. So I like Tagir. I think he can mix in multiple takedowns here, tons of control time, win a decision at this price tag. I think he could pay it off for sure. Next we have Jake Hadley, 9,200. Speaking of takedowns, this is a tailor-made matchup for one Jake Hadley going against Carlos Candelario. Jake Hadley, phenomenal wrestling, phenomenal grappling, great cardio, can wrestle for 3 rounds no problem. And he's going against Carlos Candelario, who can be taken down by a gust of wind. I mean, the guy's takedown defense is some of the worst takedown defense you've ever seen. Therefore, I think it's a tailor-made matchup. I think he can go out here, just get a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time. What I will say is Candelario, very good scrambling ability, very good get-up game, which is only going to lead to more takedowns. So that's just why I like Jake Hadley a lot at 9,200. It's an expensive price tag, but I think he's going to definitely cover that with the amount of takedowns and control time I think he gets here. Don't know if he finishes Candelario, but I do see like a ton of takedown upside there. And then Marina Rodriguez here, talked about it a little bit. I like the volume. I like the fact that she has been 5 rounds. I like the cardio. She's dangerous in her own right, and I just don't trust Amanda Lamish's cardio. I think if this gets to the 3rd round, it's Rodriguez all day. From there on, it's Rodriguez, and I think she's really going to take over the fight as it goes on. And like I said, I think a late finish for Marina Rodriguez is definitely on the table. So I do like this main event as a whole. I think it scores well, but yeah, I'm on the Marina Rodriguez side myself. Getting into our GPP plays here, our tournament plays, we got Pauliana Viana, 8,300, and she's a tournament play for me. I mean, I don't know if I'd go there in cash for Pauliana Viana, but just the 100% finish upside of Pauliana Viana. She's never won a decision, and the reason she's never won a decision is because she's not a minute winner. She's content to go out there and lose minutes, actually, off her back. She's content to be taken down. She's content to pull guard and lose minutes. But that's kind of the upside I'm looking for in Draftkings. I'm looking for that finish. She has like 12 finishes, which is very impressive. 12 finishes for Pauliana Viana. Jin Frey's been finished a couple times out of her 7 losses. She's been submitted before. Kay Hansen got her in that 3rd round. And yeah, if this fight hits the mat, whether it's Pauliana taking her back, standing, Pauliana pulling guard, it's going to be Pauliana's world. She's very dangerous on the mat there. So I do like Pauliana Viana for that finish upside. And I will not be touching the other side of that, which is Jin Frey. Mario Batista, 9,100. We talked about it a little bit. I think it's a good matchup for Mario Batista going against Benito Lopez, who has not fought in over 3 years. I'm not sure what Benito Lopez has been up to. Benito Lopez, I'm not even sure if he's at Team Alpha Male anymore. Just a weird matchup. Another matchup where I think they're kind of trying to build up Mario Batista here. He's kind of taken a step down, which is weird. from his last fight against Brian Kelleher. I think it's a step down here for Mario, and he should go out here and get the win. 9,100, I don't mind that price tag. Chase Sherman, 8,200. It's ugly, but I think it's probably a fight we have to target. Parisian's been finished quite a few times. I think somebody's probably going to get finished. 8,200. I think the winner does score well, no matter how ugly the fight is. And then Shalion Nurdenbeke, 8,900. We talked about it. Derek Minner is a guy that is killer to be killed. He could go out there and submit Nurdenbeke early, but if not, there's a good chance Minner probably falls off a cliff and Shalion finishes him in that second or third round. So I think Shalion is definitely in play at that price tag. Love that Minner-Shalion fight. All right, moving on to our live dogs here. We have Daniel Rodriguez, 7,800. Not a fight I'm completely excited about in terms of a DraftKings standpoint, but on DraftKings he is 7,800, which I am intrigued at that point. I feel like these salaries should be a lot closer. Money has came in on D-Rod, and I can't ignore the volume upside of D-Rod here. He's landing 7.75 significant strikes per minute. I think all the finishing equity is in favor of D-Rod here. I'm convinced nobody's ever going to finish a Daniel Rodriguez ever. He's never been finished. And Neil Magny, I don't think, is the one to do that as well. But yeah, Neil Magny's going to have a reach advantage here. He's going to have a height advantage. Maybe he can go in there and push Daniel Rodriguez against the cage. But I don't know. Daniel Rodriguez is really strong. I have a hard time seeing Magny kind of control him there. I think he can keep it at range and just land a ton of volume, potentially get a finish. So I don't mind some D-Rod, 7,800. I think he's very much in play at that price tag. And I think the price is off as well. Amanda Lemos, 7,400. I'm looking for that first, second, maybe third round finish upside. If it gets past the second round, honestly, mid-second, third round, I will have some concerns about Amanda Lemos. Her cardio really scares me. She had her flight delayed from Brazil to Vegas. She just got to Vegas Wednesday, I believe, evening. So that's not good. But yeah, she's going to be dangerous early. She's very, very hard hitting. Rodriguez is hittable at times. So for that finish upside, I will be having some Lemos, but like I said, I'm more so on the Rodriguez side. Derek Minner, 7,300. The ultimate live dog here. I mean, if this guy wins, it's going to be a first round sub. More than likely, he's going to score a ton. He's going to break the slate. And I have a ton of interest in Derek Minner this week. Shalion's been submitted 6 times by much lesser guys, including like an 0-1 guy on the Chinese regional scene. I've seen him tapped out a ton. And Derek Minner's no joke on the mat. Derek Minner's went out there and submitted guys like Terrence McKinney. So I will be having some Derek Minner and a decent amount of Derek Minner, a decent amount of the fight as a whole. I think he's very live. And then Josh Parisian, 8,000, sloppy heavyweight fight, flip a coin. Who knows what's going to happen? But what I do know is I think it's an important fight, sadly. So I will have some Josh Parisian, no matter how ugly it is. Getting into our punt plays here, I got Mark Madsen, 7,200. I think it's a winnable fight for him. Mark Madsen, he has an Olympic wrestling background. His striking has improved like leaps and bounds since moving to Fight Ready. The cardio has improved leaps and bounds since moving to Fight Ready. He's on a full camp, whereas Dawson is coming in here on short notice. I feel like if Madsen can keep this standing, he's going to win the striking exchanges. Dawson, his striking's improving, but he's still very hittable, still very sloppy on the feet. I like Madsen striking a lot. The only thing that worries me is Dawson's grappling. I think Dawson's going to have a big grappling advantage here. Dawson being a brown belt, Mark Madsen being a white belt. But if Madsen is able to keep this upright, I think he can win. Maybe he can mix in takedowns in his own right, but 7,200, I don't think he's a bad play. I think he will have some decent ownership. I mean, dude's undefeated at 7,200. And plus, I think the price tag's off in general. So I will have some Mark Madsen. I don't think he's a terrible play at 7,200 there. Fades, Jinyu Fry, 7,900. Yeah, easy fade. Not second guessing it. About as easy of a fade as Caitlin Chukagan was a couple weeks ago. About as easy as a fade as Andrei Arlovsky was a couple weeks ago. I mean, I'm fading Jinyu Fry. Terrible finishing rate. No volume. No takedown upside. Nothing. So yeah, fading Jinyu Fry. Don't want her in any of my lineups. But yeah, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Check out DFSbythenumbers.com. Article should be out sometime tomorrow. Optimizer should be updated. All the projections should be updated sometime tonight. Yeah, check it out. Projections, targets. You got the article, the rankings, all the good stuff. Tons of stuff on DFSbythenumbers.com. $10 a month. Check that out. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Good luck for UFC Vegas 64. Should be an interesting card. But next week we have UFC 281, which I cannot wait for. Should be a phenomenal card as well. But yeah, guys, best of luck, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. See you.